To Maui now, where for the first time today, residents of Lahaina are being allowed back in since wildfire ripped through this historic town. They can now go and check on their property in person, but this is what they're returning to. You can see for yourself from this new video. It shows just the scope of the devastation. The town really has been leveled, literally. So little left, nothing like what it used to look like at all. And look at all these burned out cars right along the edge. And this is where we were hearing the stories of people jumping out of their cars and jumping into the ocean to escape the flames. Piles of debris and ash, dozens of charred cars, a sign of just how quickly the flames tore through. At least 55 people died, and Hawaii's governor warns that that number could go higher as search and rescue crews continue their work. And as Laura Aguirre tells us, new teams are arriving stateside that could help speed up the search and rescue process.
Formula, diapers, ice, water, and just food.
From a desperate young mother to an artist losing a 50-year collection.
It hurts, man. It's a lifetime of work. Gone.
The people and the landscape of Western Maui are forever changed.
The fires are still raging here. There's not 100% containment.
Local nonprofits and other groups are working to get supplies into the fire-ravaged areas any way they can.
Churches, nonprofits are sending materials via boat to West Maui and via air because the two ways to access the west side of Maui are closed off to everyone except emergency personnel right now.
Cadaver dog search teams are arriving from stateside. Their mission will be grim.
They need to go through property by property, house by house, just to see who's there.
Many fire survivors are now questioning the public warning system in place.
My phone got one ping as I was getting into my truck, and that was the only evacuation notice we had. That warning was completely useless.
Cole Millington says the island's tsunami warning system should have been utilized.
We're going to look at what is the communication and how could it be better.
But future improvements do little to ease Maui's heartbreaking reality right now.
The Maui police chief referred to Lahaina, the entire town, as a sacred burial ground.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
And the state of Hawaii has described its warning system as the largest outdoor public safety warning system in the world. It's used to warn people about earthquakes, tsunamis, brush fires, flooding, lava, or even terrorism. There are more than 400 sirens spread throughout the island, including 80 in Maui County alone. But records show no indication those sirens went off. Instead, officials sent alerts to phones, TVs, and radios, but it's not clear if those went out before or after the island was hit with power and signal outages. If it was after, that may have limited their reach. And Maui fire officials say the fire moved so fast from brush to neighborhoods, it was impossible to get messages to the emergency management agencies responsible for those alerts. And right now, information is hard to come by and frustration is growing, as you can imagine. Lines of communication are down across Maui. Cell towers burned to the ground. Phone lines and internet service are out. And that's where radio is coming in. DJs say they're taking calls. Instead of playing music, they're taking calls from frantic, upset, scared residents. They say they want to help, but it's hard when they don't have the answers for them.
It's been very frustrating trying to get people to talk, not to us specifically, but to talk through us to reach the people that really need to hear their voices.
And when we don't have those details available to us for them, it's frustrating for sure.
I just wish we had more from them. We need our leader to step up and guide us on what to do. We have people out there waiting for any kind of contact.
And tourists continue to leave Maui. A stream of buses are dropping off travelers evacuated from the western side of the island at the Maui airport. Many are looking for flights out. They say they are mindful of the fact that as tourists, they can leave and go back home, but residents have to stay, and so many have lost everything.
When we came on the charter bus to come here, they took us right through Lahaina, and we were able to see up close and firsthand the devastation and how everything we saw the day before was so lush and beautiful is just completely gone now. It's just everything burned.
To just view what's happened in Lahaina was really, really so sad. Our hearts definitely go out to all those who lost everything, their livelihoods, their family, their homes. Yeah, we had just driven through 2 days earlier and it was beautiful and bustling, and then coming back on the way back and seeing just absolute devastation. It was really heartbreaking.
Hawaii officials say 11,000 people have left the island as of yesterday. Hundreds more are expected to leave last night and then also today.
An Elk Grove family is back home tonight after escaping the smoke and flames on Maui. The Hakala family was vacationing when they started to see smoke, and the video shows here that you're watching how they were trying to get out of the path of the flames. The family moved to a different part of the island, but knew something wasn't right.
When it first happened, I don't know what made me. I think just living around here. I think the fact that we've had this happen, and you know, I have property up in Auburn, so we had the King Fire, we've had the Camp Fire, we had the one that, you know, burned up Paradise, and so I think that as soon as it started happening, I just got this feeling to not sit around.
The family made their way to the airport and back to Elk Grove. They say the pictures of the aftermath are absolutely devastating, and they're just grateful that they're safe. A 150-year-old banyan tree that sits in the heart of Lahaina was not spared by the flames. Look at this. You can see the historic tree so badly charred, but still standing after being engulfed in flames. Residents are hoping the iconic tree will survive the scars of the fire. They're looking to it as a symbol of hope. Maui officials say if the roots are still healthy, the tree may have a chance to grow back. The banyan tree was just a small sapling when it was planted back in 1873 as a gift from India. It's provided shade for generations. And thousands of people are seeking refuge from the fires in Red Cross shelters. We are teaming up with the Red Cross to collect donations for those efforts. You can help by scanning this QR code with your phone. Once you get to that link, you can designate the Hawaii wildfire specifically if you want your donation to go there. And more help from Red Cross is on the way. Teams will also be helping with damage assessment and distributing relief supplies once it's safe to do so.